Jobs, taxes, and freedom. These are the top 3 reasons people are moving to the Sun Belt states like Florida, Texas, South Carolina, and Alabama, and Arizona right now. Just think about it like this. Would you rather live somewhere that's freezing cold, forces you to pay high taxes, forces you to mask up and take a shot, or would you rather live somewhere that's warm all year round, has lower taxes, has more job opportunities, and less restrictions? Well, that's the same decision that a lot of Americans made in 2021. Let's talk about it. Now, both Zillow and U-Haul came out with some recent studies saying that Florida and Texas are once again the #1 states that people are moving to in 2021. The Sun Belt states have more jobs being created, lower taxes, and therefore drawing more people and companies to move to these states. Migrations to these places were already happening at record pace before the pandemic, but ever since the pandemic started, this has just spurred this movement even further. And all of this has a direct relationship to the fact that San Francisco, New York, and Chicago are predicted to have the slowest growing housing markets here in 2022. The top Sun Belt cities that are expected to grow by as much as 14% in the next year are places like Huntsville, Alabama, Dallas, Texas, Pensacola, Florida, Titusville, Florida, Melbourne, Florida, San Antonio, Texas, and South Carolina and Arizona. And the things that all these places have in common is that people are feeling more safe to move to these areas, especially for your economic future, knowing that if there's another pandemic down the road, that these states probably aren't going to go into full lockdown mode and force businesses to enforce vaccine rules and possible employee terminations because of these things. So right now, this is a huge movement in the US, and I think this is here to stay. In fact, California lost so many people in 2021 that U-Haul actually said that they ran out of trucks from people moving from California to Texas, which is almost unbelievable, right? When you think about U-Haul, this nationwide company that has probably millions of trucks, and they actually ran out of trucks from people moving from California to Texas. I mean, that is just unbelievable, guys. And let's face it, all of these areas were desirable to move to even before the pandemic hit, just due to a slower pace of life and the nicer weather. But now you throw in all of the pandemic related consequences and people have had enough. You know, people are ready for those lower taxes and more job opportunity and a safer environment to start a business. That's what people are after now, and who can blame them? We had our biggest economic downturn since the Great Depression in this past year, and nobody wants to repeat that going forward into the future. So if you're looking to start a business or you want to have some job security and move to an area that looks like it has some future growth potential, that people aren't leaving in droves, then these are the areas that you should be looking at. Now, I think the #1 concern is for a lot of people that are already living in all these places that people are moving to, is a lot of people don't want these areas to become the areas that people left, right? A lot of the biggest concerns that I always see in the comment section is, hey, don't California my Florida, don't California my Texas, don't New York my Florida, whatever. And it's a legitimate concern because let's face it, if people come here from other areas seeking freedom and more opportunity, and they bring with them the ideology that turned those states into the problematic mess that they're leaving, well, then obviously that becomes a problem for the places that they're moving to. So I'm hoping that a lot of people that are moving into these areas aren't bringing with those ideologies with them. Now, it's going to be interesting coming into 2022 here, just how many more of these migrations we still see. And I think that will largely depend on a lot of the policies put into place in some of these other states that people are leaving. Because if they don't start getting the hint soon, I'm sure that a lot of people are still going to continue to be leaving well into 2022 and maybe even 2023. Now, the thing is, guys, this is not a political video in any way. People who know me know that I don't bring politics into my videos, but one thing that this is a fact-based video. The fact is that more people are moving to these places and more people are leaving these other places. That is a fact. It's not some kind of alternate reality. It's the fact. You can have your own opinion, but you can't choose your own facts, okay? And to me, as somebody who's been in real estate for a long time, I think that this is a pretty clear sign that people are now voting with their location. People are voting with where they want to live based on how things are being ran in certain areas. And let's face it, nobody wants to live in a city or a state where there's a ton of restrictions and the opportunities are down and the taxes are sky high. That sounds miserable from any perspective, no matter who you talk to about that. So I think that one lesson that can be learned from a lot of the states that people are leaving, I think these states need to start rethinking how much they're charging people in taxes, and maybe even a lot of their restrictive policies that are putting businesses under, because the more that they do this, the more they're going to be devastating their local communities, and it's not going to be good for a large chunk of America in the long run. And I love this country a lot, guys, and I want everywhere in the USA to succeed ultimately. Now, if you enjoyed this video and you're one of those people thinking about moving to Florida, then check out my video I did about the top 10 cities that still have houses under $200,000 right over here, and I'll catch you guys over there.